Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
A night of comedy with Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? You don't know where your mom is. The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
Sebastian Maniscalco and Jim Gaffigan.
I went ziplining for the last time. What is wrong with us? Would you pay $200 to feel like you're about to die 6 times?
Live in Memphis, FedEx Forum, Friday, February 21st. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
Doyle back inside the Built Ford Tough Studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you get through the day best you can. And I hope you're ready to see a 3-game winning streak get extended to 4, because that's what's on tap for tonight. The never good Hornets are in town to lose for the 16th time on the road this season. We'll get you ready for it momentarily. First, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes, Chris Vernon going to join me. He's the host of the Chris Vernon Show, weekdays noon. Grind City Media. He's with me on Wednesdays. Today's Wednesday. We'll talk Grizz and all things NBA. Interesting trade involving the Phoenix Suns last night. Vernon will be here in the next segment. Finish talking to him. We're going to take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we'll discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Dan Hurley, the UConn coach, had another viral moment last night during a win in overtime over Butler. He acknowledged it in the press conference. Yes, he did tell an official not to turn his back on him because he is, quote, the best coach in the effing sport. It was caught in HD. We'll laugh about it. We'll do that in about 40 minutes. I know Memphians of a certain age were raised to hate Louisville. I understand. I was with you. I was there with you the whole way. But if you can put that aside, full story developing at Louisville. I'll tell you about it a little later on in the show. Memphis native Cam Jones got 19 points last night. Number 10 Marquette beat Seton Hall 76-59. The loss is starting to pile up on Shaheen Holloway. I'll tell you why, if you've noticed, coaches keep going to bat for him in the post-game press conferences. Rick Pitino over the weekend, Shaka Smart last night. We'll get into that a little bit. We'll do it a little later on in the show. Bennett, I think you'd agree we all like having Zach Edey in Memphis, but, buddy, they are missing him at Purdue. Lost again last night to a not great team inside Mackey Arena. Spend a few minutes on that just a bit. And the best game of the night in the sport, going to originate down in Oxford. Number 14, Texas A&M at number 16, Ole Miss inside the Pavilion. I get you ready for that. We'll just talk nothing but college basketball during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carry out. We'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies because game 44 of scheduled 82 set for tonight, downtown Memphis. Grizz-Hornets inside FedEx Forum. Tip scheduled a little after 7 o'clock. Tickets available, Grizzlies.com. The status report, Bennett, it looks pretty good.
Looks good, yeah.
No new names under the word out. Just Marcus, Cam, Vince for injuries from which they're still recovering. We've known about those. Luke Kennard, probable sore ankle. Jake LaRavia, doubtful sore back. Outside of that, we're good. So if you're one of those fans who want to make sure Jaja and Dez are playing before you spend money on tickets, this is the Wednesday night game for you. The starting lineup should be, and don't quote me on this, Bennett, but should be John Morant, Desmond Bain, Jalen Wells, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Zach Edey. Grizz are listed as 12.5-point favorites. Bennett, are you ready to swerve, bend that corner? Whoa. Are you ready to extend a winning streak to 4 games by embarrassing Jello Ball's brother and the Hornets inside FedEx Forum tonight?
I am very ready. I am very ready. This little stretch coming up, we got some winnable games, GP, and it starts with this one tonight against a team that
it continues with this one tonight. It doesn't start tonight. It continues.
It continues. That's correct. A team that I think you just always expect to beat no matter what. Like, this is just one of those teams in the league that it's like you always expect to get a win here.
I'll take it a step further, Bennett. It's not just one of those teams in the league that you always expect to beat. It is, and I say this respectfully, as respectfully as I can say it. It's a city you always expect to beat.
Yes, I agree.
The city is wonderful.
Yep.
The city's wonderful. I've always enjoyed my time there. But the professional basketball team stinks. The college basketball team stinks. Our Tigers beat the 49ers by 9 on Sunday, the 49ers of Charlotte. Tonight, our Grizzlies should treat their Hornets similarly. And, by the way, I don't know if you watch college football at all, Bennett, but go look up what we did to Charlotte in that sport back in October. I don't care what we're doing with Charlotte. Playing college basketball, playing professional basketball, playing college football. I know how that's going to go. It makes me wish we had an NFL team just so we could smack them around in that a little bit too.
Yeah, they're not good either. Now, hang on. Do they really claim the 49ers, though? I don't know if that one counts. That's like a UAB Alabama situation there.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I'm just going to ask a question.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the 49ers who play in the American Athletic Conference?
I'm familiar, yes.
Where do they call home?
They call home Charlotte.
Okay, I'll rest my case.
I'm
gonna rest my case.
I bet they claim some more prominent schools than the Charlotte 49ers in that city, man. I'm just saying.
When people talk about Memphis, what school do they talk about?
That's different, though. We're good. We're
Then they should get good. We're
a historic basketball program. They got no history.
And it ain't been the same since you guys lost Bobby Lutz. You should bring back Bobby Lutz if you want me to respect you.
I guess.
If you want me to respect, I ain't respected Charlotte since they had Bobby Lutz. And I love Bobby Lutz, and I do respect Bobby Lutz, but it ain't been worthy of my respect since they had Bobby Lutz.
No.
And don't get me started on that football program. And the NBA team, Jello Ball's got a hit right now.
Yeah.
Congrats to him. But LiAngelo, LaMelo, incredibly talented. I discovered him a long time ago. You can look it up. I discovered LaMelo Ball. But right now, he's just the franchise point guard for a team that's never good.
They have won 3 in a row. Which is surprising.
They have lost 15 times on the road this season. They are 12.5-point underdogs tonight. Don't you start talking about they're better than you think. You tried to do this with the lowly Pistons.
I did. Well, no, the Pistons are a playoff team. The Pistons aren't lowly, bro. The Pistons are good.
I don't look at them as a peer.
The Pistons are good. We're not doing any more Piston slander on this show. That's a good team right there.
I don't see the Pistons as a peer. I certainly don't see the Hornets as a peer.
No,
then here's my question for you.
Yes,
on a scale of 1 to 7.
Okay. I hate this.
On a scale of 1 to 7,
so
as a
confusing.
Memphian, how much do you enjoy beating Charlotte at everything?
It's nice. It's nice. I don't like.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoy it too. I'm a little nervous just because like this is one of those where it's like, okay, well, we know the score here. This is a bad team coming in here. So I hope that the Grizzlies are ready. I hope they don't come out like they did on Monday night. How about that? Or on Monday afternoon. I'll say that.
Always a chance midweek game against a never good team. Always a chance for a letdown. I understand, Bennett, but I'm not expecting it. I understand there's always a chance, but I'm not expecting. Hey, it's not every night, Bennett, that the Grizzlies have an injury advantage over an opponent, but they kind of do tonight because the Hornets' second leading scorer, Brandon Miller, you heard about him, right?
Yeah.
He's out indefinitely with a wrist injury. That was announced last Friday. He was averaging 21 points a game on 43% shooting before the injury. Now out indefinitely and possibly for the season. This specific injury, I was reading about it last night, usually requires surgery. Like in the past, Brad Beal has had surgery on this injury. Jaylen Brown has had surgery on this injury. It's possible Brandon Miller won't need surgery. Charlotte hasn't announced that yet. But if he needs it, just know he's probably done for the season. He's probably done the start of 2025-26 season. Either way, what I can tell you for sure is he's not going to be in action tonight. So the Grizz are listed as 12.5 point favorites. Barring a surprise, all seriousness, jokes over here. Barring a surprise, they should be 29-15 at the end of the night. And considering the Rockets are playing Cleveland tonight, there's a chance, Bennett, there's a chance by the time we go to bed, and for me it's like 4:30 in the morning, there's a chance the Grizzlies could be alone in second in the Western Conference standings behind only the Oklahoma City Thunder. Needless to say, being second in the West in the second half of the season while starting two rookies would be a wonderful place to be. So let's try to get there, Bennett. All you got to do to get there, this is all you got to do. Beat the never good Hornets tonight inside FedEx Forum, and then root for the unbelievable Cavaliers to knock off Dylan Brooks and the Houston Rockets. Suddenly we go to sleep tonight at some point, and the Grizzlies are alone in second place in the Western Conference standings. How's that sound to you?
It sounds really good to me. This is kind of crazy, this game tonight. We haven't seen LaMelo Ball here since it's been 3 seasons. Yeah, since the 21-22 was the last season that he played here in Memphis when the Hornets came. So that'd be kind of cool. That's something to look forward to.
I discovered LaMelo Ball.
I know you did. That's why I brought that up. He hadn't played here in a minute, so that'll be kind of fun. Remember, like there was this like very small window where there was like the John LaMelo comparisons. You know what I mean? Like, who do you want to be your franchise point guard? If you were able to pick one, who would you pick to be your franchise point guard going forward? That seems like that was a long time ago when that discussion happened. He's good. He's a good player, but not a winning player.
He hasn't won enough at the professional level for anybody to describe him as a winning player, but he's undeniably talented. To me, the interesting aspect of the LaMelo Ball story is we are living in a time right now where columns are being written every few days saying Steph Curry needs to ask for a trade, the Warriors need to blow it up, the Warriors dynasty is over. They're still good enough to not be embarrassing, but the idea that they're competing with Oklahoma City or even Memphis as a contender in the West, like that's not real life. And unless this is the way Steph wants his career to end on a mediocre team in San Francisco, then he needs to ask out of there. And the Warriors just need to blow it up and start over. Had they just drafted LaMelo Ball, we might not be having these conversations.
That's where you were, right?
I thought LaMelo Ball, like I'm wrong about this stuff just as much as anybody else. I'm right sometimes just like anybody else.
Yeah, sure.
And wrong sometimes just like anybody else when it comes to the draft. Among my biggest wrongs, I thought Marvin Bagley should be the number 1 pick in the draft that he was in. That's obviously ridiculous. I thought LaMelo Ball should be the number 1 pick in the draft that he was in.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on the board when the Warriors were selecting, and they could have took him. And instead, they draft, I don't know that they would acknowledge that, but they drafted for a positional need It was like, if James Wiseman can be this unicorn modern big to go with Steph and Clay and Draymond and Wiggs and all that stuff, however the roster was back then maybe this is how we continue the dynasty without ever having to really rebuild. We just, because of injuries, dropped out of the playoff picture, got a top 5 pick, and this is just going to be one bad year on the way to more great stuff. Almost like what they were hoping. Like when the Spurs had that one bad year, lucked into the number 1 pick, and then, they add Tim Duncan. And next thing you know, here come the championships. After, they had accomplished big stuff minus Tim Duncan. That's what Golden State hoped that draft would be for them. We never wanted to be here. We're only here because of injuries. When we get healthy, we're ready to compete again. And perhaps the person we select with this lottery pick that we never thought we'd have can be the thing that helps take us to the next level and extend this era of winning. And they used that pick on James Wiseman, and he was a bust. He was never good. He's a bust. He's one of the biggest busts in modern NBA draft history. And I'm not saying had they used that pick on LaMelo Ball, they would be, atop the Western Conference standings right now. I just always think it's interesting to look back at things like that. And, by the way, LaMelo's not the only one they missed on in recent drafts. It's like there were opportunities now. You could go back in recent Golden State Warriors drafts and you say, well, if they'd have just taken this guy instead of that guy, or this guy instead of that guy, because this guy was on the board, but instead they took that guy. You could do that like 2 or 3 times with most franchises, but certainly them. And the reason they get so much attention when it's with them is because they're in a bad place right now. They've got an all-time great player in Steph Curry. When he gets going, he can still look like, in moments, the best player in the world, certainly one of them, but there's just not enough there for him to consistently compete at the highest level of the sport anymore. It doesn't appear. And maybe that would be different if they just drafted differently in different spots. And the guy you'll see inside FedEx Forum tonight in a Hornets uniform is perhaps the best example of that. And if not the best, certainly one of them. I'll talk to Vernon about it. He'll join me next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Memphis Cat is back with his Heaven on Earth tour.
I tried to be incognito, but thanks to Shannon Sharp's loud mouth, the gig is up.
February 22nd in the FedEx Forum.
In my spare time, I infiltrate the Illuminati, look for their secrets, run back, tell y'all.
Don't miss this year's most talked about comedy icon live. He's back with brand new material, an unmatched wit, and an electrifying performance. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
It's your turn to drive into luxury at Southland Casino Hotel. Join us on Saturdays to win your share of up to $1 million in free play and prizes. And don't miss the chance to take home luxury itself during the grand finale drawings. Drive off in a 2025 Land Rover on February 1st or a 2025 Range Rover on March 1st. 2 vehicles, 2 finales, 1 million ways to enjoy luxury only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I'm in New York City. Bennett Doyle back inside the Built Ford Tough studio downtown Memphis. And join him in studio. It's the great Chris Vernon from the Chris Vernon Show. Weekdays noon, Grind City Media. He's here right now. Look at you. Appreciate you being here. I'm going to return the favor Friday. My plan is to be in studio with you on Friday. I can't wait for that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and I was listening when I was coming in. I was listening to you guys talk about Charlotte. I love Charlotte.
Why do you love Charlotte? The announcer?
I'm sorry. Well, the announcer, who, by the way, I've tried again to get on the show today and have been declined.
Oh,
but
no.
What? Yeah, I've tried over and over
Hold
again.
on. How did we get to the point where the Hornets play-by-play guy could turn you down multiple times?
This time, I'm going to give him a pass because they said that he did not fly in with the team. He had to fly commercial, so he's not going to be here to be able to pull it off. But, no, so what happened is years ago, I don't remember. I think this is when Ja and Jaren were both in the rookie-sophomore game, I think. Maybe it was just Jaren and Clark were there. I don't remember. Anyway, the All-Star game was in Charlotte, and we went. And it was great. And I loved the city. I loved walking around the city. It was a perfect All-Star city. And everybody there was super cool, super nice. You know, the Panther Stadium's over there, and the NBA arena is right downtown where you could walk to it from your hotel, and where they had all the outdoor festivities was great. The food was good. And then I think about Charlotte more often than you would think recently, because about maybe like a month and a half ago, something like that, we were talking about the Hornets. It came up that I had been to Charlotte. I like Charlotte. And then I told Jacoby on the mismatch, I said, you know, when I went to Charlotte, one of the things is they are known as one of the barbecue piers, right? Kansas City, Charlotte's known for their style of barbecue. Texas has their style of barbecue, you know, and then people can argue about it, right? So me and Roser go to this place. It's called Mac's Speed Shop. And we order everything. And the whole idea is I'm going to do this video about how Charlotte people love their barbecue, but I can't even believe that we're even talking about this, right? As a Memphian who is going to Charlotte, now I'm going to have all this. I'm going to sample all of this. And then I can make this video saying, are these people nuts? Like, they are comparing their barbecue is our thing. We are the host of the, worldwide barbecue festival. We are the home of barbecue. So we order everything. Long story short, Roser films this video. I'm going to eat the stuff like on camera, whatever. And needless to say, I never posted the video. The video never got posted, because it was unbelievable. The food was so good. Everything was so good. We loved every single thing we ordered. And I said, Roser, this is a disaster. Right. I was like, this is all so good. So anyway, I'm telling that story to Jacoby, whatever. Next thing I know, on Instagram, Mac's Speed Shop hits me up and they say, oh my God, you just made our month, blah, blah, blah. And they send me this massive care package. It's every sauce they have, hoodies, T-shirts. Like, I'm Mr. Mac's Speed Shop. And so now, every time I open up my refrigerator, there's like 6 bottles of Mac's Speed Shop. They have like all these different sauces and whatever. But I loved it, man. I loved Charlotte. I thought it was a great city. I mean, their team stinks. Generally, their sports stink. And I am with Bennett. I will say this. I'm going to take up for Bennett. I never take up for Bennett.
Appreciate it.
You walk around Charlotte, you ain't finding Charlotte 49er fans. Like, that's not right. You walk around Charlotte and be like, hey, hey, we got a big game tonight. And they'll be like, are you talking about Duke? Are you talking about Carolina? Are you talking about Wake Forest, maybe? Are you talking literally anybody else? It is. He actually... And you didn't give him credit. And that's a bull crap thing that you did. Because you didn't give him credit. It is like UAB in Birmingham. That's exactly what it's like. Because you walk around Birmingham, and if you say big game tonight,
it's Bama.
And maybe Auburn, right? Like there's going to be two different segments of people. But if you say, hey, you excited for the game tonight? Ain't nobody saying they don't even know Charlotte plays.
Well, that sounds like a Charlotte problem. That doesn't sound like a Memphis problem.
Oh, look, it's the curse of Bobby Lutz.
It's the curse of Bobby Lutz. They did Bobby Lutz wrong. I don't even know if they did Bobby Lutz wrong. I can't remember.
Where is Bobby Lutz?
Is he still alive?
Yes, Bobby Lutz is still alive. Don't ever even say that again.
Good.
Don't say that again. I still text with Bobby Lutz every once in a while. We'll just
You do not text with Bobby Lutz.
I'll send you our text messages.
That is ridiculous.
I love Bobby Lutz.
All right, where is he?
I don't know where he's at right now.
Then why are you texting him?
Okay, it was an overstatement. I have texted with Bobby Lutz in the past year or so.
Why?
I think somebody died, honestly. And I was trying to hey, hope you're doing okay. Good to hear from you.
You want to know where he is?
Yeah, I do want to know where he is.
He is currently the associate AD for the Ole Miss Rebels men's basketball team.
What?
How about that?
No.
Yeah, that's what it says on Wikipedia.
Now, hold up. I've been to Ole Miss twice this season, and I haven't seen Bobby at all.
This is your home state. This guy is literally 40 minutes from you. You guys are so close.
All right.
You didn't even know that Bobby Lutz was at Ole Miss? That's crazy.
I think I might have known it, but then forgot it for the same reasons, I can forget anything. But I've been to Ole Miss twice. I've got a big Ole Miss story coming out later this week. I haven't bumped into Bobby at all.
Wow. Look, that's what he says. He says Wikipedia says he's
that's
the
what Wikipedia says, yeah.
He's basically my neighbor. I need to go see Bobby Lou. Bobby Lou. Charlotte ain't been the same. But here's my thing. Charlotte's in the AAC. Yep. Just like UAB is Birmingham School in the AAC. Memphis is school in the AAC. What's the difference other than we decided to be good at stuff and they can't be good at stuff? What's the difference?
Well,
and we care here. I mean, they don't care there.
We have had less holding us back too. I think people at UAB would tell you that they've never had a chance because the powers that be tamp that down, right?
Yeah,
they tamp that down. They don't want to make. They don't want to make you. I mean, at one point they stopped playing football.
I think at one point, literally a relative of Bear Bryant was making things hard for UAB.
Yes, his son.
Yes,
it was his kid. Yeah, that's right. So I don't know. Anyway.
Okay, so LaMelo's in town. That's Jello's brother. If you were, keeping track. Do you agree with this? Because I was talking about in the opening segment and didn't really plan to talk about LaMelo, but every week somebody's writing a Warriors column, need to blow it up, what's Steph going to do? And you can trace some of this stuff back to that draft where they took James Wiseman over LaMelo Ball. And I was just Googling during the break, and I found a story that was dateline January 15th, 2025. So just a week ago. And here's the headline. Warriors are paying a hefty price for their LaMelo Ball mistake. Could you do this with any franchise, or did they really make too many draft mistakes to keep this Steph thing going as long as they could have?
Well, they certainly didn't have that many draft hits, right? I think Jordan Poole was one of the draft hits, but after that, I'm not sure. They found role players, and maybe, I've been thinking about this because I just saw this podcast appearance, and whether you want to agree with him or not, it was with Eric Paschall. And Eric Paschall had a great rookie season for the Warriors. And a lot of it was because guys were out of the mix. And so Eric Paschall was a guy that he got the ball and he went and he scored. And he was his first couple of years in the league, really good and thought he could be a part of it. And then he said it was really, really hard for me to operate because everything is off of Steph, right? And you've heard Draymond talk about this before, where he's like, look, two guys get to do whatever they want to do, and the rest of everybody else has to fall in line. And it is more here, it all surrounds this one guy, and you've got to be able to play off that one guy. And that is, I think one of the things that's been really good about the Grizzlies season is everybody's always involved. But I think that one of the hard parts about developing guys when you are with a LeBron or you are with a Steph or you are with some of these superstars, like developing within that, is guys have to almost immediately learn how to be able to star in their role. That's what they have to be able to do, is starring in their role, because you are never going to be anything more than a role player. You are going to be a cog in that wheel. And it is the challenge that Edey is having right now, right? Which is, you're the fifth option, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You get less shots than Jalen Wells. And you're never getting more shots than the other three. Like, that's never happening. And he even talked about, like, trying to figure it out, like, what the team needs him to do. But I guess the trick is, do you get the most? Are you able to maximize those players and develop those players within that context? And I think probably the answer is no. The guys that have actually had success with them are generally the veteran-laden guys. It is you think back to it, it's the Sean Livingstons, it's the Iguodalas, it's Wiggins after he's gotten all that selfish stuff out of his system by the time he gets there, on and on and on. Whereas young guys coming into the league, I do think it's a hard place to develop, and I do wonder what the trajectory of LaMelo would be. I think most people would say, well, that would have been a perfect place for him to go, but it probably wouldn't have been a perfect place for him to go at that time. And it's the challenge of getting drafted to good teams, and it's something that James Wiseman he just could not figure it out, right? And he was never going to be, he was miscast because their system is basically, they've run off of this for many years at least. Steph Curry is going to draw two guys at the top. He's going to throw it down to Draymond now and playing 3-on-2, right? Because he's an unbelievable facilitator from that point. Like, that was never going to be James Wiseman. James Wiseman is going to only be effective, really, if you're playing pick and roll. He's not going to be hitting a bunch of jump shots. He's not going to be fun. So I will say, I think it might have been different for James if he would have gone elsewhere. And I think probably LaMelo is in a reasonable spot in terms of being able to do everything he wants to do. Like, it's gone way too far now. Like, he plays now like he's at Chino Hills. Like, he literally does anything he wants to do. I saw they had a stat the other day, and it was one-legged threes taken, okay, in the league.
He's number one.
It's like 53.
Right.
The next guy is like 7.
Right.
He's taking 50 one-legged threes. Like, if that is, like, Jimmy Butler took a one-legged three and they suspended him for 7 games. Because it was indicative of not giving a shit. Right? It was like, dude, you're suspended. Like, he literally caught the ball in the corner, picked up a leg for no reason, and shot it just to show you I don't care. This guy does it just for fun.
He's been doing it his whole life. Like, the first time I saw him, I'm always joking about I discovered him, but, like, I did write the first, like, LaMelo Ball story. That's a real thing. He was 12 years old playing 17 and under. He was, like, 5'2", just launching from all over the court. It was the most outrageous thing you've ever seen.
And people cannot overstate his level of fame. Look at where he is. He's going to start the All-Star game.
Yeah.
He's going to start the All-Star game. Yeah. I think he has – does he have the most votes of
LaMelo?
any guard in the East?
That's wild.
No, I think
I didn't realize that.
If he's not number one, I think he is the number one guard voting-wise. That's crazy.
One of the craziest basketball scenes I've ever seen was in Las Vegas, and it was Zion Williamson against LaMelo Ball in Vegas, and they had to close the doors, call the police, fire department, the whole deal, because it was just overwhelmed. LeBron James showed up, and they said, LeBron, please don't come inside because it's too chaotic.
He is an internet just sensation. Like, my son, who is now a freshman in high school, was like mimicking LaMelo Ball. I mean, he had an awareness of him when you were, right after you write in those articles. By the time he was 13 years old, my son had an awareness. And think about this. No American college experience. Like we never watched LaMelo Ball play as a collegiate athlete. In fact, it's just a year off the radar. Like he was just gone. Because what did he play? Like Lithuania or something?
Yes, he went to Lithuania. Like, and
it wasn't even like on TV. Like at least I saw Luka play, right? Like leading up to the draft. Like LaMelo just was out of sight, out of mind for a year. Like like Brandon Jennings was 100 years ago.
No, but like young people, and you know this, young people don't watch TV as much as they watch YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
As much as they watch their iPads. So you don't have to be on TV to get famous with kids. In fact, you're better off not being on TV to get famous. My kids have no idea who the biggest star on the biggest television show in the world is, probably. But we can be at the airport in Atlanta, and they'll spot a YouTuber a mile away.
Oh, you know what? That's so funny you say that because we were at, I want to say it was Disney. I want to say it was like Animal Kingdom a couple of years ago. And you would have thought that, name the biggest star, like Taylor Swift, right? Or Taylor, like somebody like that level of fame. But there's a YouTuber, his name is Brent Rivera, who my daughter loves. And she was like, oh my God, it was like freak out mode. That Brent Rivera was at the same place that we were. And I was like, who is Brent Rivera? I don't even know who that is. This guy could not have been more famous to her. Not at all.
Same thing. We were at the Atlanta airport, and my little guys start flipping. That's so-and-so. I don't remember who it was, but like very famous. And they went over. They got the courage to go over and introduce themselves, and he was great. He took pictures with them. But just two different worlds.
Yep.
This was like they had just seen Tom Cruise, but I don't even know who this person is.
Who they wouldn't even know who it was.
But and you wouldn't know who it was if I told you the name. But in their world, that is the biggest thing in the world. And I notice this all the time.
But they don't know who Tom Cruise is.
They might.
No, they don't. Yeah, because this happened to me yesterday. We were talking about. Bennett was in there. We were talking about that River Fest, River Beat lineup. And then we were talking about that, and then we got onto music, and then there was the Shinedown announcement that Shinedown's going to be playing at FedEx Forum. And Bush is there. And I was like, oh, my God. I've seen them twice, right? Yeah. And I was like, they were the biggest rock band in the world, like for a segment of time, right? And Jenna and Devin, who both work on the show with us, had absolutely no idea who Bush is.
Right.
I felt old as crap. I'm like, you've never heard of Bush?
I have a theory.
They sold like 1 billion records. Like that 16 Stone record, everybody had that. Yeah. Everybody.
I have a theory on this, and I don't know if it's supported by like facts. It's just my own observations. When we were in high school, we listened to Bush and Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Guns N' Roses and all these bands, rock bands, guitars, drums, a bass, a singer.
Yep.
And you listen to that, and it takes you to previous versions of that. So now we're listening to Led Zeppelin, we listen to the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, all that stuff. We listen to modern rock music, and it took us to classic rock music. Today, kids don't listen to rock music. You know what kids listen to? Juice WRLD and Kendrick Lamar and the Kid LaCroix. They don't listen to rock music, so they're not going back and listening to Bush, or you're not exposed to this anymore.
The way they have an awareness of the old songs is if they become like viral videos.
That's right.
That's the way. Like somebody
or
uses
TikTok songs.
Yeah, uses an old song, or it's on like a show. Like that there was that huge song from like the 80s
on Stranger Things, running up the hill.
And so
Kate Bush. Yeah.
And then all the kids knew that song, right? Because it was on Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And so but man, I had this feeling the other day where it was like say like I'm trying to think, like, say, like, Boombastic, right? Mr. Boombastic, right? All right, so, like, that song, okay? That song, to my kids, is the equivalent of me riding around in the car with my dad listening to Clue, KLOU he listened to the oldies station all the time, right? But it would be like Frankie Valli from like the 50s, like doo-wop. Like that is the distance in time.
Oh yeah, no,
between right? Like my kids listening to Boombastic is like me listening to friggin' Gladys Knight and the Pips or something, or like something from Frankie Valli.
In terms of the calendar, my kids putting on Nirvana Nevermind would be the equivalent of me being their age and putting on Elvis Presley.
All right, let's just go jump off stuff.
Yeah,
let's just go jump off
the bridge. Seriously,
because I don't feel like that, and I know. Look, I knew your dad. You've met my dad. Like, I don't feel like we're anything like our dads were. Like we're for sure not. We're not like our dads were. Right at the same age. Right. My dad would never be like wearing like a hood. I never saw my dad in a hoodie ever. Like my dad will wear a hoodie now. He's like 70-something years old in a wheelchair. But like when I was a kid, like my dad was. I don't even know. I'm not kidding. I don't remember my dad being in a T-shirt. Like I don't
had the polo.
I'm not sure that my dad had T-shirts. You know what I mean? It's just so crazy to think about how much things have changed and how much different we are in our 40s than our parents were in their 40s.
No, like I mean, listen, I ache the same way anybody aches. Right. And I could, I have mirrors, so I see myself. I know what I look like.
Right.
But I don't walk around feeling like an old man. But when I say things like Nirvana Nevermind was so long ago that if I were in high school, it would be like me listening to Elvis Presley. That's a crazy thing to consider.
Maybe the worst one beyond those. I mean, look, it happens every day now. It's obviously all the kids that are involved, but maybe the worst one was in the spring. I was watching a Braves game, and they showed Ronald Acuna Sr., who is younger than both of us. And I was like, come on, bro. How is Ronald Acuna Sr. like? He looked way younger than us. I was like, this is bull crap.
Oh, it's not. No, I've reached a point where watching a college basketball game and they'll cut to the crowd, and it's like, and here's so and so's mom, and I'm like, she looks young, and it's like, no, she just looks young because she's younger than you, but that's how old people are who have college age kids. I mean, I have a 21, right?
Hey, I tell you this, it never even dawned on me. This is probably like 4 or 5 years ago. This may be the first time that this ever happened where I like Chaz Palminteri at the end, in Usual Suspects where he drops the glass. I had absolutely no idea. When I first started in media, I used to go to SEC Media Days every year, and I'd have all those players on. And there's a great player that played for Ole Miss. His name was Terrence Metcalf. Unbelievable, right? Huge lineman. And he ended up going off to the NFL and whatever. And like 4 or 5 years ago, I'm watching a game. And the kid played at Ole Miss. And I never even fathomed that DK Metcalf could be Terrence Metcalf's son. But he is. But I interviewed Terrence Metcalf like at SEC Media Days, like, and I think the deal is he had him like in college or something, so that's why it would make more sense. I'm like, how is DK Metcalf Terrence Metcalf's kid? He's already like awesome in the NFL.
No, I've covered DeJuan Wagner's high school game.
Yeah,
like been in the pyramid to watch DeJuan Wagner play a high school game, and then fast forward, and I'm sitting in a gym in Las Vegas with DeJuan Wagner, watching DeJuan Wagner Jr. playing an AAU game. Like this is the way life works, I think.
I know.
I think
hey,
before I get you out of here real quick, make sense of the Utah-Phoenix trade for me. On one hand, if Danny Ainge ever was like on the phone with me and he was like, yeah, I'll do that deal if you want to do that deal, I would just hang up and be like, I guess I'm on the wrong side of this. What do you make of the Phoenix-Utah deal?
Okay, so, well, look, it's ego to always think that, like, hey, no, it's not going to go that way here. But Danny Ainge has a long history now of very successfully betting against super teams. Oh, you are putting together all of these, right? He knows the rebuild is going to be a bitch, right? And so now he is going to take advantage of that because right when it's time for you to try to rebuild, now I've got your first-round pick. And as far as I know, there was no protections on it. So he's banking that in 2031, that Phoenix pick is going to be amazing. Somebody like a Matt Ishbia and whoever runs the Phoenix Suns, Ishbia obviously most importantly, they think, hey, I'll just keep on spending and I'm always going to be good. But this is what they thought in Brooklyn, and he took advantage of that. That's what they've thought in all manner of places prior to. And then on the flip side, it's a win-now deal for Phoenix. That's about getting a group of picks that they can package together, hopefully to sift around. Because I don't know if you saw last night, Jimmy Butler was wearing the Phoenix Suns shoes. Like, he wants to be there. And they're obviously, look, you're probably going to have to get multiple teams involved. It's interesting. The one that I saw passed around last night was maybe Brad Beal ends up in Milwaukee, Chris Middleton ends up elsewhere, right? Like, because Miami doesn't want Brad Beal. Everybody knows that. So how can we shapeshift this deal in order to get Jimmy Butler here? Obviously, we've got to get off that Beal contract. Can we find a landing spot for Beal, which is probably a win-now situation, while somebody else is getting off some salary? And so it's probably going to be pretty convoluted. It's probably going to have to be 3 or 4 teams involved to make it happen. But that was about the acquisition of assets, not for the future for Phoenix, but because they are without assets to package together with. And so now you can maybe convince somebody, hey, take Brad Beal and one of these first, right? You're getting to shop around multiple first-round picks of which you did not have.
One last thing, just sort of, we know that there's a history, even a history including Jimmy Butler, of players asking for trades and then making it where, whether you want to do it or not, they're going to make it where you need to do it. They'll force your hand, get difficult with you, make your life miserable. Can that be flipped around? Obviously, Bradley Beal has a no-trade clause. He doesn't have to waive it. Can Phoenix can they, the same way Jimmy Butler will put pressure on you to get me out of here, can they put pressure on him to say, hey, we know you don't have to waive this, but if you don't, man, you're gonna hate it here. Is there anything that can be done?
I mean, they put him on the bench. I mean, they put him on the bench recently, and I think that when they put him on the bench, Bradley Beal is a class act, but he came out and he's got an ego too. He don't want to be on the bench. He does not feel like he's at that part of his career where he should be on the bench. And so I kind of felt like, and it worked with great results, right? He ended up scoring a bunch more, and they have been much better since they've had Beal coming off the bench. It has helped Booker. Since, it's improved everything. It's probably the best thing for their team, but I don't think they necessarily did that for the best thing. They looked at that and went, this is the best thing for my team. It was, hey, now this guy's not going to want to be here. And so they've already gone that step to try to make him, to where, again, ego, and a guy's like, bro, I'm not 40. I'm still one of the better players in this league, and I should be starting, and I'm capable of a lot more, and now I'm the one that's going to the bench. This is bullcrap, and just get me out of here. I think that's what they're hoping happens.
But if he doesn't go there, is there a next step? Okay, that didn't work. Let's get more uncomfortable with you.
No, I don't think you have to. I mean, I think he probably understands, right? I think he probably, and again, these guys all have egos. Nobody wants to come off the bench. Nobody. Especially a guy that's as accomplished as Brad Beal, who's been one of, if he didn't lead the league in scoring, he was second one of the years. And he's been a really good player for a long time in the league, and he doesn't feel like he's now some kind of, I'm sure Brad Beal thinks he could be an all-star in a different situation.
Probably. Because they all think that.
He's wrong.
He's wrong, but they all think that.
Correct. Right.
I think Russell Westbrook probably thinks he could still be something, and he has been better, but they all think that. They never see themselves the way.
Plus, I think you always worry about guys wanting to, not wanting to leave situations that are great, where there's a bunch of team camaraderie. But if you watch the Phoenix Suns, it's like, oh my God. They have none. None. Right. It just looks like, it's a lot like watching Philly. It's like 5 guys doing their own thing, but they've got talent. But they're not friends. They're not cool. They ain't high-fiving. They ain't talking. They ain't going out after the game. They ain't there's nothing.
It's a mess. We'll see where it goes from here. That's Chris Vernon. He'll be in the big studio. Chris Vernon's show, Boom Grind City Media. And then catch him pregame tonight, Grizzlies-Hornets inside FedEx Forum. He'll be pregame, halftime, postgame as well. Tip schedule for 7 o'clock. Tickets available, Grizzlies.com. We come back, turn our attention to college basketball. Dan Hurley went viral again last night. Hilarious moment. I'll tell you what he said. We'll do it next. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans. Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
At the National Civil Rights Museum, history moves us forward. The question remains, how does history move you?
Keep on talking, marching up to freedom now.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Final score, UConn 80, Butler 78 in overtime in Hartford. Whatever. That's not the story. The story is that late in the first half, Dan Hurley went viral again. UConn was up by 10. Something happened. Dan Hurley's upset that something happened. He decides he wants to talk to the official about it. He's talking to the official about it, and the official at some point says, with his actions, we got a basketball game to play, so I'm going to start focusing on that again. I'm going to turn around and look back at the court and try to get this basketball game, back on track. Dan Hurley then at that point appears to yell at the official, "Don't turn your back on me. I'm the best coach in this effing sport." That's what the lip readers told us. You never know, though, how much you can trust a lip reader these days. So, understandably so, Dan Hurley was asked about it in the post-game press conference. "Hey, Dan, it looked like you told the referee that you're the best coach in the sport. Is that really what you said?" Here's how Dan Hurley responded.
I think TV got you saying something like, "Don't turn your back on me. I'm the best coach in the country."
Did I say that? Yeah. I mean, I know we you know, I'm going to sound like an asshole here. So, you know, he just, I want some level of communication too, especially when you just.
I think TV got you saying something.
It cuts off there. He goes on to talk about how he doesn't believe they're getting a consistent whistle and implies he thinks they deserve more respect given that they win as much as they've won and they are the back-to-back and reigning national champions. And he just doesn't understand why he can't get a consistent record given everything that he's accomplished in this, a consistent whistle given everything he's accomplished in the sport. Like I said on the On College Basketball podcast, there's not a coach in America that I've ever talked to who thinks they get a good whistle. They're always complaining about the inconsistency of officials. Like, if you're going to complain about the inconsistency of officials every game, you might as well, you know, every day of your life complain about the inconsistency of your second grader who won't put his shoes on when you ask him to put his shoes on, or who can't remember to put his backpack, you know, next to the front door, or even get it out of the car when we get home from school. Like, these are very normal things that are just going to happen that most parents of second graders are going to deal with. And then similarly, if you're a college basketball coach, you're probably not getting a consistent whistle, or at least you don't think you are. I know every Dan Hurley thing becomes a big thing now because cameras are on him nonstop. And he does act in an unusual way relative to even high-strung college basketball coaches. No, he's not the only one who gets wild on the sidelines and says wild stuff and does wild things, but he does do it at a level higher than most, more extreme than most. And like I said this morning on the On College Basketball podcast, there are going to be times where he crosses a line. And when he does, I'll say that. And there are rules in place to keep him from crossing lines. And if he crosses them, then those rules should be implemented. And he should be given technical fouls or warnings or suspensions or whatever. But it's other people's job to police Dan Hurley's behavior. It's not mine on a podcast or with a column. Best I can tell at this point, his fans mostly seem okay with it. They would probably adjust it if they could, but they can't, and they're fine because, you know, pros and cons, and the good outweighs the bad. They don't love every minute of everything, but they like the results. Best I can tell, his administration doesn't seem to mind, or at least not enough to where they're bringing it to his attention. Just last week, or within the past couple of weeks, after somebody reported that his university president had sat down with him and said, hey, man, you got to clean up the sideline behavior. He said, that's just never happened. He said, I've talked to my president like one time this season. We were in an elevator together. My president was like, how you doing? I was like, I'm good. How you doing? I'm good. Okay. See you later. That's the extent of our conversation. So if the fans don't seem to care and the administration doesn't seem to care, I don't know why I'm supposed to care. When he costs his team a game by doing something ridiculous, I'll say, man, he might have cost his team a game by doing something ridiculous. But I'm just not going to, I don't know, do 20 minutes of, I can't believe Dan Hurley's acting this way when this is just the way Dan Hurley acts. This is just who he is. And it obviously works for him. He's had more success than most of us will ever achieve. He's making more money than most of us will ever make. He's got a loving wife and beautiful children. Like he's got his own little struggles, I'm sure. But from a distance, he's doing okay in life, approaching life in this way. So, it works for him. It's not the way I think I would coach if I coach, but it works for him. And it's UConn's job or the Big East job or somebody else's job to keep him within the lines, not mine. And either way, like my sense of humor is pretty simple. When things are funny, I laugh, whether they're inappropriate or not. Like funny things make me laugh. Dan Hurley yelling at a ref and then getting so bothered that the ref tried to just end the argument and get back to the game, getting so mad that you would then yell, don't turn your back on me because I'm the best coach in the sport, is hilarious. Like, that's funny. Like, when I saw that and when I read the transcript, that made me laugh. So last night, I wasn't offended by Dan Hurley. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a funny moment in a busy Tuesday night of college basketball. Again, he will cross lines sometimes. He will cost his team sometimes. He cost his team earlier this season, I think, against Memphis. When he does that, it's okay to say that. But I think I'm past the point, if I ever even was at the point, of being upset or offended by Dan Hurley's sideline behavior. I don't know that it reflects well but it doesn't reflect on me at all. That's a Dan Hurley thing, and if he's comfortable with it and the school's comfortable with it, then, just keep making me laugh, and I'll keep chuckling whenever you do it.
Number 2.
I know Memphians of a certain age were raised to hate Louisville. I was raised to hate Louisville. Bennett was raised to hate Louisville.
I still do.
Bennett.
Yeah, I still do, yes.
The great Jack Eaton once said some version of, if Louisville were playing the Russians, I'd have to cheer for the Russians. And this is in the middle of the Cold War, Bennett. This is not when we were cheering for Russians. This is when Rocky Balboa was going to war with Ivan Drago, okay? We weren't cheering for Russians, but against Louisville, we would cheer for Russians. So I understand if you're a Memphian and you hate Louisville, but it's a neat story happening at Louisville right now. Can I share it with you?
Sure, yeah.
They, like Memphis, hired a former alum to try to get their program elevated and back on track. Memphis hired Penny Hardaway. Louisville hired Kenny Payne. And though the Memphis-Penny Hardaway thing hasn't gone perfectly, it has gone way better than the Louisville-Kenny Payne thing went. It was a disaster. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you he ran the Louisville program further into the ground than I even thought was possible. I am not a basketball coach. I don't think I could be a basketball coach. I'm not Doug Gottlieb. I'm not somebody who, talks in a microphone and thinks I can then go run a college basketball program, right? This is what I do. I can do this. I don't think I could coach basketball. Hand to heart, I swear to God, I think I could win more at Louisville than Kenny Payne won at Louisville. I really do. I think if you put me in, you hire me the same day you hire Kenny Payne and said, GP, go run this basketball program, I think I'd win more than he won. Past 2 years at Louisville, Kenny Payne went 5-35 in the ACC. 5-35 in the ACC. And right now, in year one under Pat Kelsey, the former Charleston coach, Louisville is 15-5 overall, 8-1 in the ACC. Probably the second best team in the league behind Duke. Probably headed for the NCAA tournament on a 9-game winning streak. It is proof that if you make a bad hire, I don't care how good your program is, how historically strong your program is, it can get taken to a place you can't even think it could get taken to. That's what Kenny Payne did at Louisville. And what Pat Kelsey is doing at Louisville right now is providing another reminder that in this era of one-time transfer waivers and name, image, and likeness rights, you can build a competent basketball team in one offseason. You do not need time. You do not need multiple years. Mark Pope at Kentucky has built a good team in one offseason. Darren DeVries at West Virginia has built a good team in one offseason. Mark Byenting at Vanderbilt has built a good team in one offseason. And Pat Kelsey at Louisville has built a good team in one offseason. Don't ever let any coach anymore ever tell you it takes time. It doesn't. It takes talent. It takes NIL money. It takes an understanding of how to roster build in this era of college basketball, but it is possible. And what Pat Kelsey's doing at Louisville right now serves as a reminder of that.
Number 3.
Cam Jones, little homie from Memphis, got 19 points last night. Marquette beat Seton Hall comfortably. That's part of the story. The real story, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but I know people in this market don't care about Seton Hall, but there's an interesting thing that's happening at Seton Hall that you might be interested in. They're getting their brains beaten. This is a team that won the NIT last season, should have probably been in the NCAA tournament last season, coached by Shaheen Holloway, proud Seton Hall alum, who most famously, as the coach at St. Peter's, upset John Calipari and Kentucky in the NCAA tournament back in, I believe, 2022. That was sort of the beginning of the end of John Calipari in Lexington. Well, now Seton Hall can't beat anybody. This past weekend, they got blown out at home by St. John's. Then last night, they get blown out at home by Marquette. And after both of those games, you saw the coaches of the opposing teams, Rick Pitino over the weekend, Shaka Smart last night. It's been part of their post-game press conferences really going to bat for Shaheen Holloway. Rick Pitino got his best player, Kadari Richmond, from Seton Hall. Kadari Richmond was Seton Hall's best player. Rick Pitino went out and bought him from one Big East campus to another. A little bit like what Penny does to Tulsa and all these other AAC schools all the time. And I thought Rick was great over the weekend. He said, I want people here who are starting to get on Shaheen Holloway to understand Kadari Richmond wanted to play for him, wanted to play for Seton Hall. If the money would have been the same, he would have stayed here. If the money would have been close, he would have stayed here. But Shaheen has no money, no NIL. It's the worst in the Big East. And unless you guys give him money to go out and keep his players and get new players, this is what you're going to get. You are setting one of your alums. You say you love this guy. This guy poured his heart and soul into this school, and now you're sending him out there every game to get his brains beat in because he doesn't have a team, because he doesn't have money. I bought his best player. His best player is sitting right here next to me right now. Not because he wants to be. I love him. He loves me, I hope. But you know why he's here? Because I gave him a lot of money to be here. And Shaheen had none. This was an easy decision for Kadary, but not because he didn't want to be at Seton Hall, not because he didn't love Shaheen. If Shaheen had my money, he'd still have this player. I'm paraphrasing here. Rick didn't say all this exactly, but this was the sentiment. And it should be a reminder for every program in America, this is the cost of doing business now. It doesn't matter whether you think it's right or wrong, whether it needs guardrails or not, whether you think it's unsustainable or not. This is the business. This is the sport. Shaheen Holloway is a very good college basketball coach. Seton Hall is a proud program, but they have gotten caught in this weird situation where maybe not everybody else in the league, but most people in their league have real money to spend on teams. UConn, Marquette, St. John's, and Seton Hall has none. And over the weekend, they lost by 28 at home to St. John's. Last night, they lost by 17 at home to Marquette, and Shaka Smart said a lot of the same stuff Rick Pitino said. Shaheen Holloway is a winner and a great basketball coach, but you could put John Wooden in charge of this roster, and they're not winning in this league. You got to have money. So Memphis Boosters, just understand, you, like Seton Hall, have one of your proud alums running your basketball program. And to date, the Memphis Boosters and just the structure around the program has been really good about putting Penny in a situation to roster build in a way that gives him a chance to overwhelm the AAC. If Memphis wins the AAC this season, it will be for a lot of different reasons. The most obvious reason it will be because Memphis outspent on a roster everybody else in its league, not even close. That'll be the most obvious reason that it happened. But that's the way sports in college work now. Ohio State just won a national championship in football a couple of nights ago. You want to know why?
Most expensive roster.
That's it. That's it. You have to pay to play college basketball or college football at the highest levels these days. Spending millions of dollars on a roster will not guarantee success, but if you don't, it will 100% guarantee failure. You can't win in a league like this unless you got money to compete with the Marquettes, UConns, and St. John's. Seton Hall doesn't, and that's why they lose in every game.
Number 4.
I think you would agree. We love having Zach Edey in Memphis, Bennett. I know it's been a little up and down lately, but we love having Zach Edey in Memphis.
Absolutely.
They're missing him in West Lafayette. Last night, they hosted Ohio State team that came in with a 2-5 record in the Big Ten. And even though Purdue was the higher-ranked team, the favored team, and the team with a 26-game winning streak at home intact, they lost 73-70 inside Mackey Arena. They got Diebler by Jake Diebler. I think you saw this in college basketball last night, whether it was UConn struggling on the to knock out Butler at home or Purdue losing at home to Ohio State. Those are the two programs that played in last season's national championship game, and they are both coached by future Hall of Famers. They're both teams that I could see theoretically getting to the Final Four this season. But UConn was picked to win the Big East despite losing 4 starters. And Purdue was picked to win the Big Ten despite losing the 2-time National Player of the Year. And what we are being reminded of this season, most recently last night, is that I don't care how good your program is. I don't care how great your coach is. When you lose 4 NBA draft picks, including Cam Spencer of the Memphis Grizzlies, things are going to be harder for you at UConn than they were when you had those guys. And things have been harder for Dan Hurley this season than I think he even anticipated them being. And then, at Purdue, they're still good. They still got an All-American guard in Braden Smith. They're still going to be a factor in the Big Ten. They're going to make the tournament easily. And, I could see them in the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, and if it broke the right way, maybe even a Final Four again. But Trey Kaufman-Renn, Zach Edey's replacement, very good college basketball player. He is not Zach Edey. They are not getting second shots the way they used to get second shots with Zach Edey. they're not doing anything the way they used to do it with Zach Edey. Purdue, little down without the National Player of the Year. UConn, a little down without the 4 NBA draft picks. Maybe we didn't properly anticipate that in the preseason, but more than 2 months into this season, it's becoming undeniable.
Number 5.
Biggest game on the schedule tonight happening in Oxford. Only ranked on ranked matchup. Number 13, Texas A&M. Number 16, Ole Miss. Two teams that are not going to be a part of the tip-top of the conversation in the SEC, where we're typically discussing Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee. But they are in that next tier of SEC teams that are going to probably stay in the top 25 for most of the season. And if the bracket breaks the right way, because they both got great coaches, experienced rosters, like whoever wins this game tonight down in Oxford, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world to see one of them in the Final Four. And it's always important to remember only 4 teams can make the Final Four, but that doesn't mean that there aren't 20 that could reasonably aspire to get there. And if you were putting together a list of 20 teams that could reasonably aspire to get there if healthy, certainly one of them with Wade Taylor at Texas A&M, that's a team that would have to be on my list. And Ole Miss 15-3, overall 4-1 in the SEC in year 2 under Chris Beard. That would be a team that's on my list as well. So 8 o'clock tip tonight. It's on ESPN2, Texas A&M at Ole Miss. We'll get Bennett's pick. We're going to do it next. We'll do that in GP's Carryout.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzlies stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Anticipate each challenge. Make a quick response. Capitalize on every opportunity. And win. Greatness won't wait. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
The Night Agent is back for season 2 on Thursday, January 23rd. One of Netflix's biggest shows ever, created by Sean Ryan. Season 2 follows Peter as a full-time agent out of the White House basement and into the field where danger is everywhere and trust is in short supply. That's The Night Agent, season 2, streaming January 23rd on Netflix. do GP's carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
A whole bunch of stuff, but we mostly focused on your Memphis Grizzlies. Opportunity tonight to turn a 3-game winning streak into a 4-game winning streak. The never good Hornets, Yellow Ball's brother, are in town. 7 o'clock tip. Grizz listed as 12.5-point favorites. Tickets available Grizzlies.com. There's a scenario, Bennett. I ain't trying to get ahead of ourselves, but there's a scenario where we wake up tomorrow morning. We're doing the Gary Parrish Show on Thursday, January 23rd, Bennett, and we're talking about the Grizzlies alone in second place in the Western Conference standings.
How about that?
How about that? Right now, just a half game back of the Houston Rockets. We have respect for the Houston Rockets, don't we? I think we respect them.
Yes.
We have respect for the Houston Rockets, but that don't mean we ain't trying to pass them in the standings. They got Cleveland tonight. So if Cleveland can handle that business and the Grizzlies can handle that business, we go to bed tonight. The Grizzlies are alone in second in the Western Conference standings. Isn't that the way you want to go to bed tonight?
It's the way I want to go to bed. I really do want that 2 seed, just because, again, long way to go. A lot of things that are going to shake out. And obviously the Western Conference standings could look completely different between now and the end of the season. But when you look at the teams that are in that play-in window, I feel pretty good about a lot of those matchups. Like, I want to play one of those play-in teams, I feel like, in the first round of the playoffs. So I think trying to get the 2 seeds fairly important for the Grizzlies. So hopefully they have a big week the rest of this week.
You know who I'd like to play in the playoffs?
The
Hornets.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That'd be amazing.
Wouldn't that be fun? I would invite Bobby Lutz.
Man.
I'd call Bobby. I'd tell him to come on up from Oxford. I'd be like, I don't even know how this happened because the Hornets are in the East and they stink.
Yeah.
But tonight it's Grizzlies playoff game. Come on up. It's Charlotte. It's Charlotte and Memphis, just like the good old days. I don't want to watch a Charlotte-Memphis game without Bobby Lutz sitting next to me. So if we can somehow manipulate the bracket, get the Hornets in a playoff series, I'm bringing Bobby Lutz up from Oxford. We're going to celebrate it like the good old days.
I like that.
I'm fired up for tonight. Let's whip the Hornets like everybody else whips the Hornets, and see if Cleveland can handle what they need to handle, and maybe we go to bed tonight, second place, alone in second Western Conference standings. That's what I'm hoping for.
What's today's biggest game?
I told you I'm going to take you back down to Oxford, Bennett. Hey, you told us to lay the big number with Tennessee last night against Mississippi State. That was a win for you. Congratulations. Let's see if you can do it again. Texas A&M at Ole Miss, 8 o'clock tip, ESPN2. They're doing it in the Pavilion down in Oxford. Beautiful on-campus facility.
Okay, remind me, is Chris Beard familiar with Texas A&M? When did they join the SEC? That might have been prior to his Texas tenure. Probably was.
Chris Beard and Buzz Williams are very similar in the sense that they, didn't play for Mike Krzyzewski. They don't have the undeniable pedigree as a player or as they had to get into this business the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
They both graduated college from the state of Texas. They have both worked throughout their entire career in the state of Texas. They're both in their early 50s. These guys have been running in the same circles their entire life, their entire adult life.
Okay, familiarity. All right.
I know both of them well. I like both of them a lot. I know that Chris had the off-the-court issue at Texas. I'm not glossing over that.
Yeah, I got
what
you.
happened. I'm just telling you that in my dealings with Chris Beard, I enjoyed my time around. He's obviously an unbelievable basketball coach. So is Buzz Williams at Texas A&M. So these are two of the best coaches in the country. Like when you're trying to figure out how did the SEC get so good at basketball? Yeah, it's NIL and it's money, but some of it is they just have really hired great basketball coaches, just about from top to bottom. And you'll see that tonight on display tonight in Oxford. Buzz Williams for A&M, Chris Beard for Ole Miss. So these guys have been running in similar circles their entire coaching career. They've been friendly with each other their career. Ole Miss, 3.5-point favorite tonight. Total is 142.5. How are you going to act?
Best I can tell, Texas A&M has only played 2 true road games the entire season so far, which is insane. I mean, at UCF, at Oklahoma and at Kentucky. So 3. 2 of those they won. They're coming off win over LSU at home. You know what? I don't care. Give me Ole Miss. We need that win to look good come Selection Sunday.
Then it says since the Tigers already have a victory over the Rebels, you cheer for Ole Miss tonight to enhance the Tigers' resume. Makes sense to me. Ole Miss minus 3.5 tonight. That's been its play. 8 o'clock tip, ESPN2.
What are we watching on TV?
Well, Inside College Basketball will be on 6:30 tonight. We'll be setting you up, previewing the Wednesday night schedule on CBS Sports Network. I'll be in studio for that. We will have a doubleheader then another 30-minute episode of Inside College Basketball at the end of the night. You want a movie? Can I interest you in You Gotta Believe? It's now available on Netflix.
I'm unfamiliar.
Greg Kinnear.
Okay.
Luke Wilson.
Okay.
Based on a true story about a team from Fort Worth, Texas that dedicated its season to its first baseman's dying father. You might remember this, probably not. Little league team from Fort Worth, Texas. Their first baseman's father been diagnosed with cancer. Spoiler alert, it don't end well.
Mm-hmm.
But they dedicate the season to him, and they made it all the way to the Little League World Series.
That's nice. That's really nice. I remember that
and
story.
No, you don't. I did. And now they turned it into a movie. You don't remember that story. I don't remember. No, it's fine. I know we should.
All right. I was trying to.
But look,
go ahead.
Look, now we're bringing it back to life with Greg Kinnear and Luke Wilson. You know how Timothy Chalamet just played Bob Dylan?
Yes.
Greg Kinnear's playing a Little League baseball coach.
Okay.
Same thing, kind of.
Very
Same
cool.
premise. Sort of the same thing. 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, so that's not 90%, but it's better than half.
Okay.
More than half. 6 out of every 10 critics who have watched this film said, "Yeah, I liked it."
Okay.
6 out of 10. That's not the worst in the world. If you want to stream it, it's available right now on Netflix. It is called You Gotta Believe. Greg Kinnear, Luke Wilson. It's based on a true story.
What's the best thing we've read?
I don't know if it's the best, but I did write about the Big 12 at the lead of the top 25 of one. Interesting night in that league. I led it on Iowa State scoring 108 points in a victory over UCF. Oh, buddy, our old AAC friend UCF, they getting hit a little hard in the Big 12 these days. Sometime. I eventually settled on a part of the top 25 one about Houston. Houston is ranked top 10 in the country. Houston is second in BPI, second at BartTorvik.com, third in the net, third at KenPom.
Jeez.
Trivia time.
Okay.
How many Quadrant 1 wins does Houston have right now?
I feel like this is a trick question. I'll say 5.
0.
Damn.
They're 0-3 in Quadrant 1 and ranked second in some computers, ranked third in the net.
That doesn't seem fair.
There's no substance to the resume. They just have incredibly strong computer numbers for efficiency reasons. So every day a Houston fan's like, GP, you've got Houston 18th. How could you have them so low? They're third in the net because they've beaten nobody. They are 0-3 in the net, 7-0 in Quadrant 2. So 7-3 in the first 2 quadrants. That's a rankable resume, but no Quadrant 1 wins. They had 2 as recently as yesterday. They both went away overnight. 0-3 in Quadrant 1. That's Houston right now on January 22nd, 2025. You can read that on the college basketball page, cbssports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, it'll be Thursday. We'll look back at Grizzlies-Hornets. Get ready for Tigers, Wichita State. Mike Wallace going to join me, talk Grizzlies with him. Should be a fun show. Looking forward to it already. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll enjoy mine. Be back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.